Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another video. This time we're going to be talking about Elvira in Horrorland number 2. Um, my name is Bob. I'm a comic book artist. I make these videos just reminiscing about comics that are kind of significant to me. And while these are newer comics, this is just something where it's like, for a while I've been stuck getting older comics because those are the only ones that I really related to. A lot of the newer comics I find just too difficult to get into because uh, they're just doing continuations of stories that have been going on for a year, and they don't really kind of do any recaps or anything, so I always feel like I never know what's going on or I don't know any of the characters. Of course, I do know Elvira because I've been a huge fan of Elvira since I was a kid. So I was pleasantly surprised when I purchased these new comics. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm enjoying the hell out of them. These are comics that I loved, and I plan on going through this whole series here. So to begin with the last issue, we had Elvira. She's going through different dimensions that are basically movies. So the first comic, she was in Psycho, and she was looking for a magic remote that will help her get home. And at the end of that comic, she was warped into another movie. And as we can see here with the dialogue that's coming out of her mouth and the axe that's coming through this door, she was transported into The Shining. So without further ado, let's do Elvira in Horrorland number 2. One thing I really like about this, first off, I'm a big fan of the artwork. This is awesome stuff. I think this guy does a great Elvira. The artist is, or her actually, Sylvia Califano. Didn't know that. I had never looked at the artist before. She does an awesome job with Elvira. So I do like that on the inside cover, they actually give you info on what had taken place before. So you're getting, they're catching you up to speed before you begin the next story. So if you missed an issue, you can read this and know what is going on. I really appreciate that because, again, that was something that I was not getting with a lot of other comics. But here she is. She had just popped up in front of the Overlook Hotel, and she's going in now to find the remote control of Federico Fellini. Okay, that's the remote that will end up getting her home. Now, of course, this is a continuation of a book that came before that I did not purchase, where I think her and Vincent Price were going through something. I'm not sure what, and this is when she got warped into like this movie dimension. So I'm going to have to pick that up and check it out. But I am enjoying these. Okay, so here she is, at the Overlook Hotel. Goes in and she's talking to herself. She's making jokes as she goes about all of this stuff. She's trying to find out where in The Shining she is at this moment so she can know what to expect. So she does go into the gold room where she ends up talking to the bartender. Okay. And the bartender's kind of telling her, hey, you don't belong here. You're a disruptive influence. I find that to be funny. Okay. She's sitting here making a bunch of jokes and trying to get a little information from him. She had basically asked him where in the movie they are, and we get this jump cut to Wednesday, which apparently scares the crap out of her. He explains that that's the title card that'll pop up from now and then, and that she did ask. So she's recollecting in the movie that on Wednesday, a bunch of crazy stuff happens, okay? So she leaves the gold room, and she's wondering if the remote may be near the typewriter that Jack Nicholson was typing on, when suddenly you get another jump title card, and it cuts her straight to the room that Jack Nicholson was writing in. Okay, so she sees that he was writing, and she's going to take a look at what he was writing. And we all know from the movie, it's all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. Okay, but we're going to get something else now. As I was reading this to remember the story, I saw this, and I have to say, not a fan. I had never really read Vampirella comics before, but everyone knows what Vampirella looks like, and this anime thing here, like I like anime, but I don't know, this just does not seem to fit with the character. I don't know. Just I'm just saying it's good artwork. It's just not something that appealed to me personally. Okay, I like more like something like this, or when they get a model to do it or whatever. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, she jumps. We're back in the room here, and she's reading what Jack Nicholson had typed, and it says the miniseries was better. The miniseries was better, and she's like completely shocked. She's like, he has truly gone completely dangerously insane because no rational man could type this. I find that to be hilarious. Basically, because he's saying that the miniseries was better than a Stanley Kubrick film. It's funny stuff. Even if the miniseries stayed truer to the book than Stanley Kubrick's version of the movie. Okay, so Jack Nicholson does jump in, and he says, I'm not falling for this twice. Every time that there's a sexy ghost, they just turn into some kind of rotting corpse whenever he tries to make out with them. She assures him that she's neither a sexy ghost nor a rotting corpse. Okay, she does call him Nick Jackelson, so of course, I guess not to have any kind of copyright issues or anything like that. And he states that he's not Jackelson, he's Torrance, Nick Torrance. Okay, she tries to explain why she's there, and he's just like, I don't understand a single thing that you've said. Now we get a visit from Wendy, who is not Wendy in this, it's Mandy. But I did crack up at this where he's like, oh good, now I can get nagged in stereo. I actually laughed out loud, and it's hard for a comic to do that to me. And I was a person who grew up reading Mad Magazine and such, so I did crack up at that. And then I cracked up on this because, of course, when I read it, I'm going to read it the way that Jack Nicholson did in the movie, and I'm probably going to attempt to do that right now, so I'm going to go ahead and apologize for the horrible impersonation I'm about to do. But it's Mandy, darling, light of my life. I have no idea who this woman is. Okay, sorry, just found it hilarious. Okay, now they do mention that she's not the crazy hot naked chick from the tub in room 2001. So this is going to be more of a Stanley Kubrick reference to another movie, the movie 2001, instead of being the room in the Overlook where that took place. Okay, Wendy doesn't know what's going on. Again, it's not Wendy, it's Mandy. Let's not mess up the copyright issues that could take place here or something like that. So here we go with Nick Torrance trying to take the bat away from Mandy. And Elvira's just like, you know what? He's unarmed. You have the high ground, which I feel is another joke from Star Wars. If anybody says high ground from now on, we're going to immediately flash back to Revenge of the Sith. Okay, so she's just like, go ahead and knock him one. You've got the high ground. You've got the weapon. You can win this. So Stanley Kubrick jumps in and gives Nick Torrance an axe. And Elvira's just like, what the hell? I had this under control. And Stanley Kubrick's like, no one else is going to have control over my movie. So I did this. So now Nick is chasing them through the hallways. They go into the bathroom and lock the door. Elvira says, let me borrow this while you go take this kid out the window and escape. The kid is saying, Arrivla, which is Elvira backwards. So I find that to be a little hilarious. He also wrote that backwards on the door here. So they leave, and Jack bursts through the door here. Now, I did forget to mention that while this is going on, Jack is this Jack is doing his sayings from a ton of other movies. Okay, so he's like, "You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." Okay, or he jumps in with "Never rub another man's rhubarb." You make me want to be a better man. I actually found all of that to be kind of hilarious because these are all of the things that you're going to remember Jack Nicholson for. Just like if Arnold was saying, "I'll be back," So he burst in and he's like, ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Obviously from Batman, where she takes over as the Michael Keaton character. You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. And she whacks him over the head and then runs off. Now Mandy and the child, Kenny, I believe, escape. Okay. And she's making sure that she's running fast enough that she won't see the bear pig sex room. Even though she says not to kink shame or anything, it's just not what she wants to see. I found that to be funny as well. This is when she runs into Horrland, where he makes the joke that was apparently his name in a spoof that was done in Mad Magazine as well, So I actually find that to be hilarious because that would be the easiest joke about his name to come up with. So Mad Magazine had already done it first, and they're just like, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna bite. We did the same thing too, but we're gonna let you know where we got it from. Okay, so she saves Halloran from Jack Nicholson so he doesn't get killed. She takes them running, but they do run into some ghosts on the way as she's taking him. Now he's like saying, hey, something's wrong here because I think I'm supposed to be dead. And she's like, yeah, you can thank me later. Let's get out of here. Where they run into the evil Doublemint twins in the hallway. And they're asking where Kenny is because this is supposed to be a shot with Kenny that they're seeing. But when Kenny's not around, they automatically assume you killed Kenny, you bastards. Lots of television and movie references in here. So I feel like this book is made for a certain audience who would know and get this type of stuff. But I appreciate it because I am that audience. So I did enjoy it. They go running and they get to the elevators where Elvira has an idea and tells them to jump up on these couches here as Jack Nicholson is showing up again doing another line from another movie. If you gotta go with a smile, okay? They open up the floodgates, as it were, where the flood of blood, the blood flood, pours out of the elevators, getting Jack Nicholson, blowing him out the door, where he then freezes, okay? Now, you hear, is it my turn yet? And Elvira's like, not for another, 40 years, Obi-Wan, because this would be the continuation, Dr. Sleep, starring Ewan McGregor. Okay, reference. But she's like, I didn't find a remote anywhere, and Halloran's like, hey, did you ever go to room 2001? Maybe it's in there. So she's again afraid that she's going to run into this bear pig thing in that room. She goes to the room where this is supposed to be the hot woman that will turn into the rotting corpse. But the person who comes out from behind the curtain is the astronaut from the movie 2001. Okay? And he's pretty much quoting things out of that movie as he takes her on, her next step in her time-space odyssey. So she makes a joke of, whoa, was that a monolith in your pants? Or are you just glad to see me? And she says, I bet you get that a lot. And he says, I do, which I find to be funny. So anyway, she steps through the monolith, and there's a picture here of Elvira amongst the party that was taking place at the Overlook so many years ago. But she zaps into aliens, or Alien, I should say. So the first Alien. And it says here, next, Ridley's Believe It or Not, or Geiger encounter. Okay, so I do find that funny. I do have that comic, and I will be going through it. So again, this is something I fully recommend. I think that the book is hilarious, and this is it. This is the Elvira meets Vincent Price thing that I was talking about. This is awesome artwork here. I love this. This looks like Elvira. This looks like Vincent Price. This is all very good. So I'm going to be purchasing this, and I'll probably do a video on that later. But this was Elvira in Horrorland #2. And here are the alternate covers that come with this book. I actually would have went for this. I like getting the ones with the photographed Elviras. But again, the artwork is nice. This is a cool one too. I have this one. It was whatever cover they had on the rack is what I grabbed. I wasn't trying to just go out and get every cover to the book or anything like that. But there you go. I fully recommend this book. If you if you haven't had it or anything like that, I think the Elvira books seem to be pretty good. Again, my name is Bob. I'm a comic book artist, and I'm trying to get my name out there. If you liked this video, hit like. It helps with the growth of my channel, where I can get a bigger audience that might want to support the comics that I'll be creating. With that said, I am currently creating my comic Ghost Girl, and within the next month or two, I should be complete with that, where I will have a Kickstarter campaign in order to get the funds for publication. If that's something you feel like you might be interested in, hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with any new information. All right, guys, again, thanks for watching, and until next time.